Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a look at a specific corner of Southern California history that you pointed us towards, the story of the Satanas gang.
Right.
You shared a Wikipedia entry, and, well, we're going to pull out the key information to really understand where this Filipino American street gang came from, how it changed, what their activities reportedly involved.
Maybe what their existence tells us about the broader history of Filipino Americans and gang culture in that region.
Exactly. You're interested in getting beyond just the headlines, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and this source, well, it gives us a great starting point to explore a group that has definitely left its mark on Southern California's social landscape,
But we'll be digging into their origins.
who they've connected with, clashed against, and some of the defining moments, I guess, according to this source, in their history.
Okay, so let's dive right into the beginning then. The source says the Satanas gang was founded in Los Angeles, California, 1972.
1972,
Yeah.
okay.
And it immediately struck me. They're believed to be the oldest Filipino-American street gang in Los Angeles. That's a significant piece of history right there.
It is, yeah. That kind of longevity, it suggests they've been navigating and influencing the social dynamics within their communities for a considerable time.
Definitely.
What's fascinating when you dig a little deeper is their backstory. Like, they didn't just appear out of nowhere, right?
Right.
They actually evolved from a smaller group, a clique, within the Temple Street gang.
Oh, interesting.
And that gang has roots way back in the 1920s. So, in the 1970s, this smaller group decided to become independent. It's
Yeah.
like seeing the branches of a family tree sort of diverging.
So almost like a breakaway group finding its own footing. And initially, in 72, it started as a car club. That's interesting.
Yeah, isn't it?
Filipino Americans coming together, finding a cultural connection through cars, maybe, in a place where they were a minority.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense, that initial pull towards community and shared identity.
Precisely. And the source makes it clear that at the start, it was exclusive to Filipinos.
Okay.
That initial focus on shared heritage likely provided a strong foundation. But, as often happens with groups like this, the sense of community broadened and they started to expand geographically.
Right. Things evolve.
Yeah. The source gives us a pretty extensive list of California cities where they put down roots, stretching from San Diego up to San Jose. It really shows how that initial bond resonated and spread.
It's a really wide reach. San Diego, La Puente, Cerritos, Oxnard, Long Beach, Norwalk, North Hollywood, West Covina, Chino Hills, Santa Ana,
Keeps going.
San Gabriel, Buena Park, Delano, Palmdale, Anaheim, Vallejo, San Jose. I mean, wow. And it wasn't just California, was it?
No, apparently not.
They even established a presence on the East Coast, in New Jersey and New York, and even internationally in the Philippines.
Yeah, that's what the source says. That kind of reach, well, it often reflects broader migration patterns within the Filipino American community,
Yeah, that makes sense.
As people moved for various reasons, work, family, whatever those existing social ties, including maybe gang affiliations, could have followed.
Sure.
Establishing a presence in new areas might have been driven by a desire to recreate familiar social structures, even if those structures were based on gang affiliation.
Okay.
Now, shifting gears slightly to how they interacted with other groups, the source mentions their other name, their alias, Is Tay, or STS.
STS. Gangs often have these alternative names. It's kind of part of their internal identity.
Exactly. It's like an inside identifier.
And the source points out something really interesting about their early days. The cultural similarities between Filipinos and Mexicans actually led to alliances with Chicano gangs.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Apparently, historical accounts even put them side by side in street conflicts. That detail really highlights how neighborhood dynamics and maybe shared experiences can sometimes cut across ethnic lines.
It does. What kind of cultural similarities do you think might have fostered those early alliances?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, often in shared urban environments, minority groups can find common ground, right? Experiences of being marginalized, facing similar challenges.
Yeah, maybe. Neighborhoods and facing similar external pressures. These shared realities can sometimes lead to unexpected alliances, born out of mutual need or understanding, maybe within a specific local context.
Makes sense.
The source then mentions who their allies and rivals are currently. Interestingly, Temple Street, the gang they originated from,
Yeah.
is now listed as an ally.
No kidding. That's a bit of a full circle, isn't it?
It really is, almost like a prodigal son returning, in a way.
And on the other side, their current rivals are named as the Avenues and the Bahala Gang.
Right, B&G.
These kinds of rivalries, they can become deeply ingrained and are often the source of ongoing conflict and, well, violence.
Unfortunately, yes.
The source also talks about how Satanas influenced the formation of other Filipino gangs, specifically mentioning the Demonios and Diablos.
And it makes a point to say, this is a different Diablos than the Mexican gang.
Right. Important distinction. These reportedly came from second-generation members and younger siblings of STS members.
Ah.
So Satanas wasn't just one gang. It was almost like a seed for others.
Exactly, yeah. When a gang establishes itself as one of the first and becomes relatively large, it can inadvertently become a model or, a starting point for others within the same ethnic community. Younger individuals or those related to existing members might branch out, forming their own groups, sometimes maintaining loose ties, sometimes becoming rivals.
So the founders of many other Filipino American gangs were originally members of Satanas.
That's what the source indicates. It really underscores their significant role in shaping this whole subculture.
So they weren't just participating in the gang landscape. They were actively shaping it. Wow. Okay. Now, the source then moves into the more troubling aspects,
Right.
detailing the reported activities: gang violence, murder, drug trafficking, and theft. Unfortunately, these are activities often associated with street gangs.
Sadly, yes. It's a common theme. And the source names some individuals who are allegedly current leaders. Bakal, described as the leader,
Recall?
with Peasty and Manic as his right-hand men. It then delves into a specific alleged rivalry with someone called the Button Clan,
Bun Clan.
stating that McCall supposedly murdered Pindutan's heir. This part of the source starts to sound more like a narrative of maybe internal power struggles.
It does take on that tone, doesn't it? The source even mentions the vile Begay twins and their reported atrocious acts, and it touches on Bakal's sinful past and his alleged desire for revenge against the Button Gang.
Yeah, it gets quite specific there.
And it's really important for us to emphasize here, this is what the source material presents. We aren't confirming these details independently,
Absolutely.
but rather reporting on the information that you shared with us from that source.
Exactly. We're conveying the information as it's presented in the source. The narrative of internal conflict, revenge, and these alleged figures. Well, it gives you a glimpse into the kind of dynamics that can exist within gang structures, according to this account anyway.
Okay. The source then shifts to specific incidents, highlighting two notable crimes. The first was in December 1982,
82. Okay.
where 8 Satanas members were found guilty of killing Francisco Gemez and Luis Silva.
Oh, wow. 8 members.
Yeah. And what's particularly tragic and striking about this is that Gemez and Silva were not gang members. They were mistaken for some.
Oh, that's awful. Just wrong place, wrong time.
Exactly. The details of the chase, the fact that multiple shots were fired, and the locations where Gemez and Silva were fatally hit, it really paints a stark picture of the deadly consequences of this kind of violence, often affecting those not even involved.
It's a chilling example, really. How such violence can be indiscriminate and have a devastating impact on innocent lives and, the wider community. The detail about Gemez and Silva trying to evade the situation and still being hunted down just underscores the dangerous and volatile environment created by these conflicts.
The second specific crime mentioned is the November 1989 killing of Manuel Rodriguez. He was a member of another gang, the Lemonwood Cheeks gang.
Okay, so inter-gang violence this time.
Right. The alleged perpetrator was Arnel Salagubang, a Satanas member. This incident, which followed an argument near Channel Islands High School. It's particularly disturbing because of the apparent suddenness and finality of the violence.
How so?
Salagubang reportedly pulled out a handgun and shot Rodriguez in the head.
Just like that. Wow.
Yeah. The fact that a witness was able to provide the license plate number leading to Salagubang's arrest the next day, well, it highlights the role of law enforcement in these cases and the potential for accountability, at least sometimes.
Right. These two incidents, while specific examples, probably reflect a broader pattern of violence that the gang has been associated with, according to the source.
Seems likely.
The level of detail provided, including the legal outcomes in the first case, it really underscores the seriousness of the reported criminal activities.
Definitely. Finally, the source you provided also includes the Satanas gang logo image. Now, obviously, we can't see it in this audio format,
Right.
but it reminds us that gangs often develop their own visual symbols. It's a way to identify themselves, signal their allegiance, mark their territory, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. These visual markers, like logos and graffiti, they're an important aspect of gang culture. They serve as a form of communication and a way for members to express their affiliation and presence within their communities.
So to kind of bring it all together then, this deep dive into the Wikipedia entry on the Satanas gang reveals well, a long and quite complex history.
Yeah, definitely not simple.
Starting in 1972 as a car club for Filipino Americans seeking connection in L.A., they evolved from a part of the older Temple Street gang to become what's believed to be the oldest Filipino American street gang in L.A.
And their influence spread geographically and in terms of spawning other groups. They played a significant role in the emergence of other Filipino American gangs.
We've also seen how the source describes their alliances and rivalries with other gangs. And importantly, it details instances of serious criminal activity and violence that have been linked to the gang.
It paints a picture of a group deeply interwoven, maybe often negatively, into the social fabric of certain communities over several decades.
And it's worth reiterating one more time. Our understanding here is entirely based on the information contained within the source material that you shared with us.
Right. Just this one source.
That offers a snapshot, maybe sometimes unsettling one, into a specific element of Southern California's social history and the various factors that can contribute to the formation and evolution of such groups.
Which leads to a really important question, maybe, for you to think about. Considering the information we've explored, what underlying social, cultural, historical factors might contribute to the formation and, the long-term existence of groups like the Satanas gang within specific communities?
That's a heavy question.
And what kind of lasting impact might such groups have on the areas they inhabit and the people within them? It's a complex interplay of different forces to consider.